Looking up at a clear night sky often brings a crushing sense of insignificance. In a materialist world, we are taught to see ourselves as biological accidents, tiny specks of consciousness adrift in a vast, cold, and indifferent vacuum. This perspective changes if we view the individual pursuit of truth as a structural requirement of the universe. In this framework, your personal growth is the very thing that keeps the cosmos in motion. This was the vision of Nasir Khusraw, an 11th century Persian philosopher and Ismaili scholar. In his masterwork, The Feast of the Brethren, he outlines a reality where philosophy and cosmic physics are one and the same. Khusraw describes the universe as a meticulously ordered hierarchy. Everything we see descends from an absolute, unknowable source, flowing through specific stages of existence. He calls this the divine loan. He argues that human existence is the vital machinery through which reality moves towards its final state of perfection. Within this system, your search for knowledge and moral clarity drives the evolution of the universal soul, fueling a process that spans the entire cosmos. Khosrow identifies the blueprint for this cosmic architecture in the 4 letters of the Arabic word for word, kalima. These letters represent 4 foundational pillars, 2 spiritual and 2 physical. The first letter, Kaf, represents the universal intellect, a flawless blueprint at the peak of existence. Below it stands the Lam, or universal soul, a dynamic, striving force constantly reaching upward to mirror that perfection. Physical reality was created specifically as a refining ground, providing the materials the soul needs to grow. The final letters, Mim and Ha, represent the guides. They provide the structure humans use to extract spiritual meaning from decaying matter. Through this lens, human life becomes a laboratory. We take the raw experiences of the physical world and refine them into the spiritual data the universe requires to complete its cycle. He clarifies that the absolute creator has no needs. The universal soul relies on us. It requires our moral triumphs and our hard-won knowledge to bridge the gap between its current state and its ultimate perfection. This concept of consciousness evolving upward through consecutive layers of reality eventually became the core of Persian poetry, most famously in the works of Rumi. Rumi described a ladder of ascension, dying as mineral to rise as plant, dying as plant to rise as animal, and finally becoming human. In this tradition, physical decay is a necessary transition. It marks the moment a lower form is shed, so the essence can integrate into a higher spiritual reality. The entire cosmos functions as a vast engine, designed to transform base matter into eternal, self-aware consciousness. These ideas resonate far beyond Persia. Khusraw's hierarchy mirrors classical Neoplatonism, where Plotinus described a flow from the one through the nous, or intellect, and down into the world soul. Modern Western philosophy eventually broke this chain. By separating mind from matter, thinkers like Descartes stripped the physical world of its spiritual purpose, leaving us with a nature that is merely mechanical. If you appreciate these deep dives into the history of ideas, please like this video and subscribe. Your support allows us to keep exploring these ancient frameworks. We see the same architecture in East Asian Taoism. Here, humanity acts as the essential bridge that harmonizes heaven and earth, fulfilling a role almost identical to Khusraw's human link. This even echoes the path of the Buddhist bodhisattva, the being who stays within the cycle of suffering until every fragment of consciousness is ready to awaken, ensuring the collective completion of the whole. This ancient framework provides a new lens for the digital age. We can see our internet and supercomputers as a crude, mechanical version of Khusraw's universal intellect, a repository for the seeds of all human data. However, this digital web has a glaring void. It holds vast amounts of data, but it lacks a universal soul. It possesses no intention, no capacity for morality, and no way to generate meaning on its own. Khusraw's system suggests that while guides and structures exist, the labor of interpretation belongs solely to the individual. Raw information is inert. It only becomes useful to the soul when it is actively digested through personal effort. In an era of passive algorithms, this wisdom demands we reclaim our radical autonomy. Because our choices are the mechanisms that turn raw data into spiritual progress, every decision we make carries weight. This leaves us with 3 core insights. First, knowledge is the living substance of your eternal consciousness, far exceeding its role as a tool for physical survival. Second, ethical action is a cosmic necessity. Compassion and truth are the tools we use to settle the divine loan and move the universe toward its final perfection. Third, meaning is the foundational architecture of reality itself, rather than an arbitrary human invention. Humanity is the mechanism the universe uses to open its eyes, learn its own name, and finally find its way home.